My name is Marissa Slaughter, and I'm here with my colleague Betsy and Huggins, and we are from the American Printing House for the Blind, or APH for short. We are going to tell you just a little bit about APH and what we do, and we're also going to demonstrate one of our products, Code Jumper. But first, we wanted to just say a big shout out to Run for the Unicorns for having us here as the designated charity. We're really happy to be here.
$100 if you're all tickets. Each one of $600 goes to RFTU.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Much appreciated.
Everybody that paid for this.
Okay, so APH. We were founded in 1858. So we are about as far away from a startup company as you can get. We're about a little over 160 years old. We were founded in Louisville, Kentucky. Our mission is to empower people who are blind or visually impaired, like myself. You might, people in the crowd might have seen Betsy Ann doing what's called human or sighted guide to walk with me on the stage. So our mission is to empower people who are blind or visually impaired by providing accessible and innovative products, materials, and services for lifelong success. We are a national nonprofit organization. We do some international, but we serve people who are blind all over the country. In addition to our products like Code Jumper that Betsy Ann will show you in a second, we serve people with a variety of programs. I wouldn't have time to tell you all of the different programs we do, but just a kind of a short rundown. The Prison Braille program trains and certifies individuals who are incarcerated in the transcription of Braille. So that has a dual purpose. On one hand, it gives the incarcerated people a skill, and that skill they can use when they get out, when they're released. They have a viable career option, and actually the recidivism rate for our trainees is 3%, while the national average of recidivism is reoffense, I guess. The national average is 43%. So we train people and gives them a career option. And at the same time, it helps provide Braille to students across the country who are blind. Braille is really expensive to produce, and because of the low number of people who are blind around the country, it's an expensive and time-consuming process. So the Prison Braille program kind of has a dual purpose of helping people who are incarcerated, but also helping blind kids around the country. So when the pandemic started last March, all of the students around the country started learning from home. Well, a lot of those learning platforms are inaccessible to kids who are blind. So we created the Virtual Excel Academy, and that is a platform. Well, we use Zoom as the platform, but they are classes that are free to students and accessible in that teachers who specifically teach kids who are blind teach these classes, and the parents, can get on the classes and help their student learn from home. So it's just a way that we try to make the transition to virtual learning accessible and fun for our community. Although we are founded and our headquarters is in Louisville, we have a satellite kind of program in Huntington, West Virginia. And that program is specifically to train people who are blind in that community on different areas, different skills. So a lot of it's focused on technology. A lot of the community maybe doesn't have access to all of the knowledge that's in the field, so we kind of bring that to them, especially in rural areas. So we train people on the use of access technology, independent travel through, we have a kind of a spin-off company of APH, Good Maps, that actually creates accessible mapping and orientation and travel for people who are blind using a kind of GPS technology. So we teach people about that and other access technology, money management, all kinds of different skills that people who are blind or visually impaired need. So that's in Huntington. Finally, we have what we call the APH Connect Center. And that is a suite of services that serves people who are blind or visually impaired from all ages and all parts of the lifespan. So we have one program that's specifically for parents of children who are blind who, you know, if you grow up in an area, I know my parents, I was the only blind kid that I knew, that my parents knew. And so they didn't have access to that community of resources and support. So we have a program to kind of connect families. We also have a program for blind job seekers, and it talks about resume writing, interview skills, disability disclosure, all that good stuff for people who are blind. And finally, we have what's called Vision Aware, which is for older adults who are losing their vision, usually due to some sort of like age-related macular degeneration or diabetes or glaucoma. So older adults who wouldn't say that they are blind, but they still need the same services and resources. So that's kind of a very quick rundown of the programs that we offer, and I'm going to throw this over to Betsy Ann, who's going to tell you about Code Jumper.
So I'm going to actually have you hold my computer like Vanna White. Hi everyone, my name is Betsy Ann Huggins. I'm the Engagement and Training Specialist at the American Printing House for the Blind. We just want to reiterate how glad we are to be here to showcase the American Printing House and our accessible coding solution. So Marissa's going to Vanna White for me with my laptop. All right, I want you guys to think for a moment about what got you first interested in computers and computer coding. What programs? What services? And now think about a student who is blind or low vision. We know that computer science is the field of the future, and there are so many jobs available in this field. But how do students who are blind or visually impaired get excited about coding, about computer science, about computer programming? This is a question that came to a Microsoft researcher and computer scientist named Cecily Morrison. She was looking for accessible coding tools for her son Rowan, who is blind, and she found that most physical coding systems offered outdated information, and the common computer programming systems like Blockly or Scratch are inaccessible for students who are blind or low vision or people who use screen readers. And that was the genesis of Code Jumper. Code Jumper is a physical computing tool that teaches students the elements of block coding. So it takes it from the screen and puts it in a physical system built of plastic pods. It all starts with the hub. The hub is a sophisticated Bluetooth speaker that connects with Chromebook, Android, and iOS devices. It's rather large. It has a speaker at the top, a dial to turn it on with a click. Everything that Code Jumper does is going to be an auditory process so that students who are blind or low vision can track their code. So it connects on the screen. I can use my screen reader to read the screen and watch my thread grow. So on the hub, we've got a play button, a stop button, and 4 jacks So I can write 4 codes of thread. So today for you guys, I'm going to write the first few notes of Beethoven's Fifth. Code Jumper comes programmed with many different sound systems, but you can also invent your own. So if a student's interested in car racing or they really like Star Wars, they can develop their own code to create different programs aligned with their interests. So it all starts with the hub and a play pod. A play pod is light blue. It has 2 dials on the top. One is kind of flat and donut shaped. That's going to select my sound. And then the high ridge dial will tell how long that code will play for. So I've coded for Beethoven's Fifth. And you can hear the click sound as it plugs in. And I just have to make sure that I've plugged in the right sound. So any music majors out there who know Beethoven's Fifth? All right, no hands.
Good,
To be expected. So now I can check on my donut dial what sound. And it's not playing very loudly. So let me see if I can turn it all the way up. Well, it seems to be not working right now. So let's see what I can do. Well, let me tell you about the pods. So the play pod is where my code begins. The kit also comes with loops, pause pods, if else, merge pods, and then it also comes with a variety of constants. So the code can go from very basic, 1 chain of code to 1 chain of code, to loops. It can play for infinity. There's so many things that kids can do with it. So it really goes from basic to advanced. And again, it's going to complete exactly what's on the screen in a physical system that kids can really understand. I have a colleague named Joe, who is a computer programmer, who said that he never understood what a loop was. He understood the concept in computer coding, but as a blind individual, he'd never been able to see the screen and what it looked like. But in Code Jumper, he could literally see that the loop is a circle that closes in a command. So it's a really fantastic tool. Let me see if it's going to work now. It is working. It's just very soft. I don't think you guys can hear it because it's very soft. Yeah. So it plays da 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 da, and then if I plug in my next pod, I can program it to play the next 3 notes of the song. So that's how Code Jumper works. It's very sound oriented, but for low vision students, it's also brightly colored. It has cutouts for the jack, so it's really easy to assemble for folks who are blind or low vision. But more important than even this physical coding system, it comes with lesson plans. 19 lesson plans ranging from basic to advanced. So even the most tech-adverse teacher can introduce coding in their classroom. And while Code Jumper was born accessible, it was born for students who are blind or low vision, can you imagine putting this in front of any child? I am very interested by this already. Just seeing it, it's really engaging, it's bright and it's colored, and it plays a lot of really fun sounds. And one thing I would love to share with you if you come to the booth is that it burps when you have a bad code. So it burps and it lets you know that you need to debug. And so kids love that feature. So we hope that you visit on www.codejumper.com. That's where you're going to find all the information about this kit, the lesson plans, video tutorials, and some impact statements from students and teachers really across the globe who have introduced coding through Code Jumper, this system which was designed to be accessible. Thank you. And I'm going to give it back to Marissa. Thanks, Marissa, for being writing for me.
You are welcome. All right, so now if I'm not Vanna White, am I back to being... I'm Pat Sajak now. All right. Hopefully I look better than him. Okay, so thanks, Betsy Ann. So Code Jumper is one of the many innovative, impactful products and services that we have at APH. But our impact would not be possible without the support of our donors and partners. So we really encourage you, if you're here in the audience, we have Code Jumper at the booth, so you can hear, get a better idea of the sound, what's going on. But also, as Betsy Ann said, go to codejumper.com, and if you want to learn more about APH, how you can help, how you can donate, or our programs, go to aph.org. One final note that we kind of wanted to bring, just to encourage everybody out there in the audience, Betsy Ann kind of touched on this with the accessible coding software tool. We just encourage everybody out there who's in technology to really consider accessibility and making everything that you create accessible to people who are blind and people with other disabilities right out of the box. And it's a lot easier to do it if you think about it beforehand rather than thinking about it later. So we just kind of encourage you to think about that. And it has a big impact on a lot of people. I've personally been, my life would not be the same without technology. So it's very important. But we just wanted to kind of throw that in there. And also, lastly, thank you again to Run for the Unicorns for having us. And we are just so excited to be here. So thank you.